she doesn't get the fillers, the Botox. She just looks her age.
Yeah.
Thank you. The Last Showgirl?
The Last Showgirl. We want to feel our pain, and that's okay.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning, hi. We're waiting for our donuts.
Because
Dana forgot to order, but it's okay, she had a busy morning.
I had to take care of you this morning.
And our grandson. And
I was diverted.
yeah, I had a rough morning. I had a kind of emotional morning. So we are going to lean into that. But it's beautiful outside. You know, it's a little chilly.
Yeah.
And these are Dana's beautiful. She is the girl with the thumb.
Oh yeah, these are fuchsia. And they are in my mind, one of the prettiest flowers. This is my favorite.
Yeah. And we haven't
get one every year.
We haven't planted all of our other plants yet because it's been cold. But
the clematis is
starting to go.
See, don't you feel better already?
Yes, I do. Yes. And then this big, beautiful red Japanese
maple.
We also have a couple maples in the backyard,
and
big
we have
ones.
Buddha with the lavender. The lavender's going to go in over there. So we're going to chase down the donut driver.
We're going to take down, we're like, woo, woo, so we're so excited. Maybe do we eat them out here? No, it's too cold. But last night, Dana and I watched a movie that received some Academy Awards, right?
Yeah,
some awards.
It did.
Jamie Lee Curtis and...
It was Pamela Anderson. The Last Showgirl?
The Last Showgirl. And, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh, my goodness. What an actress.
She
the roles
once
that
again,
she's been playing. Yeah. And she was the person that had been a dancer in Vegas, but she looked really leathery, and she had that frosty lipstick, and anyway, some really cool things about just the aging. Is this our Uber driver?
I think it's the donut driver.
It's the donuts!
Go get him. Thank you. Have a good day. Oh my gosh, we got to see what Deb has here.
Thank you.
You want to go in or you want to open them now?
We can open them now.
You want to open them? Because you've been waiting for these. You need some...
I need some attitude adjustment.
We were playing songs from... I was trying to put on upbeat music.
Yeah.
Songs from, what's her name?
Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, yeah.
Okay. Oh,
I got you the nipples.
Good, the nipples. It looks like someone's got some filling in them. Yeah, come on in.
Okay.
Does
that excite you?
That excites me.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, let's go in with our precious cargo.
We have nipple donuts.
Nipple donuts. All right. So,
here.
Anyway, it was good. But if you haven't seen the show, and I don't want to take away the premise if someone hasn't seen it, is these girls in Vegas, and Pamela Anderson is on this Vegas show for 30 years, and how
she
life
sacrificed
changes.
Her relationship with her daughter,
all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, I was just on Facebook a little bit, checking on things, and I saw Morning High, a close up, and kind of like, wow, how you see yourself inside versus how you see yourself on the outside. And I know that you were thinking about how you're being put on marketing stuff now, and you're going through some videos for this workshop we had this weekend. And what we do to ourselves. So I was very emotional, and part of it is that the backstory here is I ended up having, because of rosacea and some other things, I ended up having plastic surgery. And then I ended up asking to have more done when I was in surgery. I said,
well, let's have a little tweak here.
Let's have a little tweak here. Well, it went south, literally. Everything went south. And from that, I ended up having 8 more surgeries to fix what was broken from the doctor. And it's still not all fixed.
Yeah.
And then I started taking a medication to help get rid of the rosacea, which has done a beautiful job, but now I'm losing my hair. So, you look at all of these things with aging and how we perceive ourselves and how we take care of ourselves and what that looks like. And we really do watch what we eat. This is
a treat.
This is a treat.
I was very critical of myself. I'm watching, because I'm walking around the room in the videos, and I'm like, I gotta go on a diet. No more donuts. No more sugar. Just take away all the, But it is. We're tough on ourselves, and that's what we were talking about this morning. Is, recently we were doing a journey, deep meditation journey, and I had said, I think we probably all struggle a little bit with our self-worth, with how
Absolutely.
we're perceived. And one of my questions of my guides was, can I see myself through your eyes?
Oh yeah, my eyes.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted, I was asking, because I'm struggling a little bit with being on the marketing material. Like, I'm not I'm not the face of what we do. You are.
Mm-hmm.
And it is vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay, but it's vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking for a little bit of guidance on, okay, how do I see myself in that role?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be seen through your eyes, and that's what we were talking about this morning. Is the way you look through my eyes is
totally different. How we both see.
yeah.
And what you said was like, I see you beautiful, and I'm like, don't. So it's one of the things is
I'm
that
not trying to fix it.
Not fix it, yeah, but what we do to ourselves, and our aging process is normal. And when we look at social media or advertising, the industry of always wanting to look younger and be
Perfect, yeah.
perfect, and it's not possible. And I picked up one of these necklaces that one of our dear friends Dawn gave us, and it says she remembered who she was, and the game changed. And we do need to remember who we are deep inside, and how much wisdom we bring with age, and how much life experiences that we bring with age. And
You turn into the crone.
turn in the crone. I think part of for me is, yes, I did want to have the surgeries. Yes, I did take the pill. Yes, I know what I put inside my body and things like that. But when you see it on film, or you look at that, it's interesting what it does to your brain. I mean, I remember for almost a year I didn't have any photos taken because of what happened in my surgery, and didn't want to be on screen. And Elizabeth, remember, we had to hold back on
Filming stuff,
things because it was
tough.
It was tough. It was scary. So, but I think for all women is that we embrace each other. I think we talk about in our program about sister wounding, how we can judge women so harshly. And there's one of our women.
Yeah. We were actually, this
Kitty
really,
cats.
I know. Hello, Bella. We were in
Beautiful
the
women.
workshop this weekend. It's soul contracts. It's learning our sacred contracts before we incarnated. And there was a comment that somebody in the class made, and it wasn't meant to be super hurtful to somebody, but we were talking about a particular star, an artist, a singer in particular, and she blurted out, oh, well, my dad used to call her horsey face. And it struck me because I was like, how deeply we wound others because of insecurity, because of judgment, because of whatever it is.
I've talked about my Apollo before, my little device on my ankle.
Your Apollo Neuro.
Yep. Put it to joy. I mean, I thought, I don't want to hold this energy. I don't want to feel this energy. And for those that haven't seen previous ones, when I'm wearing it, people think it's,
An ankle monitor.
Yeah, ankle monitor. I would say Dana has a electric shock treatment if I get out of line. But it helps vibrate on your bone to help shift your energy, and that's what I wanted. I was like, okay, I don't want to stay in this space. And it's, how do we then...
We turned on some good music,
Turn on
which
some
is
good
sound
music,
therapy.
sound therapy, put on this, got another half a cup of coffee, and then demanded donuts.
You literally,
Yeah.
I forgot to order the donuts. And she said, where are my donuts?
And it's not that that's the cure all, but what do we do when we get into that state of mind? And I was, talking to our producer here, Elizabeth, and said, if I think about hair loss and what I went through in my surgeries, how you're feeling about when you see yourself on camera, we are still so blessed. We have to look at what we are in gratitude for, that we do have a home, that we're in a good relationship, that we have a great business and we help a lot of people. We don't have cancer. We don't have someone dying that we know right now. Where's the gratitude? But it's interesting how we allow certain things to spiral us, to take us down this hole that can be hard to get out of.
Yeah.
And I was even thinking, even you asked me a few times, do you want to do the recording this morning for Morning High? And I went, absolutely, because I could have easily said no and have that pity party, and it's easy to stay in that.
Yeah.
In place of...
It is.
It is. It's really easy to stay in that.
Like you say, decorate the rabbit hole as we go down it.
Yeah, so what we're saying is, if you're going to spiral down the rabbit hole, decorate it so that it looks good going down. Yeah. And how do we nurture ourselves? Because I don't want that to affect the rest of my day or week or our relationship or how we feel. And what can I do? What can I do to make myself feel good? And I think that's where people maybe get addictions, like go shopping or try to...
Or order donuts.
Or
yeah.
And you and I love each other so much, and I started this morning really being sad and crying, and you just said, well, I think of you as beautiful, and I pushed back. And part of it is because we want to feel our pain, and that's okay. But it's also knowing that we have...
Yeah. But it's not as if I'm pushing my feelings on you.
No.
I will, listen first, listen. And then my perspective when you're ready. But yeah, it's not... You are allowed to feel how you want to feel, but what you're really good at is looking at it, finding the lesson in it, and then shifting it, shifting your vibration, because
we don't want to stay in that space. Yeah, it does. And you wonder why, this is it too, and we could look at so many different levels of why certain days that it affects us more than others. And why we're those things that were lined up, like watching the Morning High and then watching the last show.
The Last Showgirl,
The Last Showgirl.
Yeah.
And how all that stuff builds up. Slept, had a very interesting dream.
Yeah.
Then you wake up and and I was still fine. And then it was like something triggered.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because we talked about this recently too. Pam Anderson was on the awards show, whichever one, Golden Globes, but she doesn't wear makeup anymore. And that was interesting, to show up just authentically without armor. And Jamie Lee Curtis, she doesn't get the fillers, the Botox, she just looks her age.
Yeah, authentic.
And they did make her skin look like leather and tan and all that for this movie, but it is. We're not, do we try to change ourselves, or do we just
lean into it?
Yeah.
And it's really honoring that women are willing to do that. And I don't have any problem with people getting fillers or coloring their hair or making the changes, whatever they feel is appropriate. I feel like sometimes if it makes you feel better, that's okay.
Right.
Mine just took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah. Well, we have cherry, raspberry.
Oh, raspberry.
I think that's Bavarian cream. Whatever you want. And I think they threw an extra one in here.
Did they throw an extra one? They didn't know it was part of a show.
What is that on that? That looks like...
I want to touch them all then.
That looks like there's... Oh, it's just extra donut. I'll have that crispy part.
I'll have this one. All right. So, hand me the knife. Let's see which way she hands it to me this time. If you've watched The Morning High...
Stop it.
Dana
Stop
seems
it.
to
Stop it.
I don't know what she's
that
trying
is
to
judgment.
All right.
You're talking about my handing skill set.
I think about this, like, if I wasn't worried about my appearance, and I felt like everything about me was, I don't know, acceptable to myself or others, whatever you want to say, but our appearance, my hair, my weight, whatever we want to kind of go into what we judge ourselves for. I think there's sometimes is that part of that energy about how do we deal with what we're good at, what's good in our life, and what we struggle with, because we're all here to figure out our suffering. And this is part of my suffering.
Right.
Even this weekend at our workshop, one of my favorite people, Sid, walks up and goes, "Wow, you look really beautiful." And I started going into the negativity of how I feel.
Yeah.
And I stopped myself and I'm like, I teach this. I teach it. I teach when someone gives you a compliment not to go into your story and just honor it. But I went into my story for a few moments because I know that story's still in my head. So how do I heal that story?
Right.
And I think there is always a yin and yang. I think there's always a balance of energy. You ate all that and I didn't get one bite?
I sure did.
So
It was really good.
I bet it was. I think I'm wanting to look at my lesson around
Right.
having the surgeries, the recovery, because the recovery was very difficult. There were multiple surgeries after that, and different doctors. So it wasn't
Ultimately, though, the doctor kind of messed up.
a lot. And so you go into it thinking you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to,
Right. Right.
But we learn.
I think, we've talked about this a lot too. Part of our life lessons are the things that happen to us, and then we learn from them and are able to teach others how to work through these things that happen. So if we had perfect lives and things that never bothered us, then
We're here to heal our suffering.
Right.
And this is one of my big things of suffering.
is to
But I
teach
went
it.
back to my childhood with this. I started thinking about so many different things, my relationship with people in my life, just a lot of layers with it. So sometimes, like we've said in classes that we teach, is it happening to you or for you?
Right.
And I look at this thinking, okay, well, this is a great big lesson.
Yeah.
It is a good lesson. But I think one of the cures is some fun with friends and some donuts for sure. Takes the edge off for a moment. I think the biggest thing is, how do we have that self-love?
Yeah.
And it's okay to have the sadness for a while, but how quickly do we want to turn it around? And that's what we always teach, is you're allowed to be human, but not to stay in that space of not feeling good about who you are and shaming and guilting yourself, but finding that ability to empower yourself once again.
Yeah.